Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to Precision Machine Shed. Today what I have is a product review for a product that company sent me. What I have here is a Teslong, what is it, an NTS150B. It's a digital rifle borescope. They call it a rifle borescope. I believe this is the first version that they sent me a few months back. And I believe they currently have a new 2.0 version, which is an updated version. But let me just go over a few things about this particular one. So I've used the $800 plus borescopes before, and they work extremely great. And if you're looking for the type of quality you're going to get with those, this is not. It's kind of doing the same thing, but it's not. You can't compare that because that's a high-end instrument, and this is. More geared towards the average guy, maybe do a little bit of gunsmithing here and there type of thing. First off, let me tell you a few of the things that come with it. So, when you get it in the box, it's a little skinny box, and then you open it up and of course you get the monitor here. It's a 3.5-inch LCD display, and then the scope comes with it. It's a 24-inch scope. And then you just screw it on here like this. It's just a screw-on connection. Plug it in. A few things you get with it are a charge cord, of course, and you get a few of these nifty little accessories here. This one is a 90-degree mirror, and this little tool right here is kind of neat. This is a magnetic end on it, so if you drop a screw or something down, or you're working on a car, you get this little borescope down there, drop it in there, pick up a screw, which is kind of cool. And then you got this guy, which is a little tiny hook. I suppose if you want to hook a wire or something, you're trying to fish a wire through something. And then of course you have just a thread protector there. And then the cap that goes on the end when you're not using it. The very first thing I noticed when I got this one was that the very end of this scope is kind of wide, and it's a little wider than I expected. And then when you take the 90-degree mirror, which is what a lot of people want to end up, and it's what I want to end up seeing, is so I can look directly in the rifling and the chamber and whatever else, that is quite a bit larger too. So just with my Starrett mic here, let's measure exactly what this old one is. And I think this is one of the ones that they fixed on the new ones. So this is exactly 247 on the 90-degree mirror. But if you take that off and you're left with just the tip of the shaft, that is 217 thousandths. So what that leaves you with my particular borescope here, is you can look inside a .22 caliber rifle barrel without any attachments on the end of this thing, and you can look straight down the bore, and you can kind of look around the sides and see it. But if you want to use a 90-degree mirror, you're left with .257 caliber or larger. So that's the one downfall, and I believe those are a few of the things that they fixed with the new version 2.0. I don't know about the 90-degree mirror, but I'm sure they fixed the other part of it, so you can get down into, because a lot of guys buy this for ARs or whatever else, so they can. And that was one of the reasons I was excited to do this when I did my 223 AR-15 rebarrel. When I drilled the gas port for that new barrel, I wanted to check and see if there was a burr and how the inside of that gas port looked after I did it, and I couldn't get in there with my 90-degree mirror, so that was kind of a bummer. If they fix that on the new one, that's great, but that was one of the issues I ran into with this one. Alright, so here's the display unit, and to turn on, just simply push the power button, hold it down, that baby lights up for you, and then we get our image. So then what we're left here is in camera mode, battery power, and then that little guy there shows that we have an SD card in there, and it does come with a micro SD card, which is an 8GB, which is kind of nice, so you can take video. There's camera mode. So if we want to switch it in a camera mode, it's the mode, the M button there. There's our pictures that we took. Let's turn the light on. So there's our light. And as you can see there, for some reason my picture quality isn't the greatest. So I'm going to turn the light on. So here's the light, or we already turned the light on. So if I want to take a picture, it's just simply, we're in picture mode, so we push the little round button there that takes a picture. And then if we want to check out our picture and see which one that we did, we go over to mode. There's the play, so that's the picture we just took. If you want to look at previous pictures, there's a chamber, the throat area, or the lead area, and then the front of the chamber. And then there's some rifling I took, which it isn't the clearest, but you can get a fairly good idea. There's the first picture we took. So, and then we got different levels of brightness for our camera too. There, it's off. Whoop! So we got to get out of that thing. So different levels of brightness. Off, 1, 2, 3. I usually run it at 2 or 3 when I'm running inside a bore. And then, so let's turn that on. If we want to zoom in, that's just the up button. And then we can spin the angle so that, not the angle, but the camera will turn and look different directions. Just a little tiny bit, not much. So I have a brand new 6.5 caliber Excalibur barrel here that's never been, it's a blank, so it's never been cut or reamed or anything. Never been shot. And if you can see it, it gives a fairly decent image. But I'm not getting very good clarity out of this one, so I might have to contact them and see if it's an issue with something I'm doing or if there's something wrong with the camera. But if we go in here and let's switch modes, so I'm going to take a video and we'll see if we can get it over to the program for you guys to see it. So we're going to push the record button there. So now we're recording. So I'm just going to slide this in. We're going to follow that land. We're going to turn it. We're going to come back. Follow that land. And then spin it. And stop it. From what I've been told also, the version 2.0 has an autofocus, which I don't know if this one has an autofocus. I think it's just a fixed focus, so hopefully they fix that issue. We can take a photo. Let's get a good picture of one of the lands there. Let's take a photo. Let's play. So now we're in camera mode there. We'll just snap a photo. And then we can brighten it up if we want to. There's zero light. 1, 2, 3. And there we go. Also, the other thing on here is it does have a light on top if you're working somewhere, which is kind of handy, I guess. Maybe for some, if you're working on a car or something like that. On the side here, there's your micro USB and your charge port, and that's about it as far as this thing goes. There's not much to it. Alright, so here is, we'll just record this. So this is a typical, this is a Remington 700 barrel. This is a 7mm Magnum, and I haven't cleaned this or anything. It's just an old takeoff barrel I had sitting around. And what I have on the end of this scope now is just the camera. I don't have any other fittings or anything on the end there, so it's just the camera pointing straight forward, so you can get an idea. So you can see once you can get a pretty good idea. I mean, along your chamber, because you got to get that focal point just right. So let's try to get up here a little bit. So you can see that looks kind of nasty. This is an old barrel. Who knows its history? Looks like it might be fire cracked a little bit. Anyways, I'm just kind of showing what this looks like in just a straight ahead looking mode. Let's see if I can zoom in there. It doesn't really let me do much. So you can, I mean, you can kind of get an idea, but it's not that great. So let me stop this and we will put the 90-degree mirror on and check that out. So here we'll record again. So here's looking 90 degrees. And so this is the chamber wall, and my barrel's not clamped down, so it might wiggle around a little bit, but you gotta move the camera probe around a little bit to see. There's a shoulder body junction, there's the shoulder neck junction, there's the neck, there's the throat and the lead. So as you can see here, I'm not getting very good clarity with this thing. I mean, it's just it's not that great. I don't know. The focal length is not good. I mean, I can kinda get it, but it's just not there. It's kind of like trying to read without reading glasses, if you need reading glasses. You can kind of tell what it is, but you're not really sure. But let me try. I got an idea. Let's see if we can change the focal length here a little bit. Unscrew the mirror a little bit. So that gets us a little better, but it's still not quite where I want to be. Let's try and screw it out. I can only screw it out so much before I lose my sight picture. So there we go, that's much better. So there you can start to see fire cracking in there, but I've changed my focal length. So let me try just a little bit more. So then we're losing our mirror there on the edge of it, which is no good. But we should be pretty close. Hey, look at that. That's the way it's supposed to look. So our focal length is kind of messed up. But now you can see pretty well. There's good fire cracking there in the throat area. We'll go forward here a little bit. Yeah, pretty good fire cracking all the way along there. All the way down here. Let's go way in there. Let's go probably 12 inches in. Hey, and then you start to get to some decent looking rifling. There's still some cracking in there, but smooths out quite a bit. You can see the forging marks there. You can see some either dirt or that looks like pitting. So there's pitting. And I may have cleaned this barrel. Let's go all the way down here. Usually the further down the barrel you get, the nicer it looks. Some defects in the barrel. Some copper in there. Not much, it's pretty clean though. I did a good job cleaning. A little bit of rust, and there's the end of the barrel. So there's the crown, the lead of the crown. I'm gonna grab that other, that Excalibur barrel, and now that I changed the focal length of this camera a little bit, we're gonna check and see how that looks. Alright, so here's our Excalibur barrel, and this is a barrel is probably from 2015 or so. It's an older barrel, but it's still brand new. These are supposed to be hand lapped button rifled barrels, I believe. This is a stainless barrel, but you can see it's pretty smooth. I mean, it's not a mirror finish in there, but it's not bad. Looks a little rough, but that smooths out when you shoot them a little bit. There's a little, I don't know if that's dirt or a little tiny flaw right in the middle of that, in the middle of the screen there on that land. There's who knows what right in the middle of that groove. But looks fairly, hard to say. Looks fairly uniform. Nice looking bore. Alright, so here's one last barrel that I'm going to look at. So this is a large bore barrel. It is a 429 caliber, so this is a big bore rifle. And this is a fairly new barrel. It's been fired a few times. There's a little bit of who knows what in there, but it's been fired a few times by me. But other than that, I don't know the history of it. There's some copper on the land. And you can see the machining marks in the grooves. So this barrel, you can tell, has not been lapped, or if it was very hastily lapped and not done very well. But I don't know what type of barrel this is, and I don't know who made it, so very well may be a hammer forged barrel. But it looks pretty good. A little dirty in there, but and it could probably use a lapping, but overall not too shabby. Alright, so a few of my impressions after using this thing for a while is that it's got a few issues, and like I said, this was supposedly the first version, and I believe they fixed some of these issues in the second version. The main issue I found with this one is that it has the large diameter on the mirror, and then the 217 thousandths, I believe it was, on this guy. And I guess I never really actually measured what the actual shaft diameter was. 197 thousandths on the main shaft of the probe here. So 197, 217, and then what I say 247 on the mirror, which is the main tool that you will probably be using if you're buying this to look into rifle barrels. Some of the things I like about it, I really like that it's got a nice screen on it. You can read it. It's pretty easy to see. It's got the LED lights on the end of the probe, so it lights up your bore nice and bright. You're able to take video and pictures with it, which is kind of nice. And then it's got the removable 8 gig micro SD card, and you can put whatever you want in there, but that's what they send with you, so it works pretty well. It's also nice to have the longer probe on the scope here. 24 inches. It'll get through a lot of barrels, not all of mine, but it'll get through quite a few standard size rifles. I guess that's taken into consideration that you have it off the action, but this, let's see what this back end measures out to be, because most standard rifle bolt raceways are a little over 700, usually around 700 thousandths. So if we can keep it under 700, that bolt raceway, so yeah, so that's 700 thousandths. So this, even this back part here will fit into most receivers, and then you can poke it all the way in through there if you want. So it's not a big deal if it's on your receiver or not. And then the other thing is I've probably used this thing for a couple hours, and I've never charged it since I got it, which is probably a big no-no, but I got a charge cord here, and I see my battery starting to run low, so I'm going to charge it now for the first time. But they do have lithium-ion batteries, so that's a plus. And then the other thing, it does have a long cord on it, so I don't know, it's about probably a 4-foot cord or so. So if you want to, mount this up somewhere on your bench or whatever, so you can have it at eye level, and then you can move this thing around to wherever you want to move it to. So for the money, I think these things are about 160 bucks on Amazon right now, 170. I think they're not a bad deal for what you get. And if they fixed all the issues that I mentioned to you guys with this one, with the version 2.0, I think this is a really good deal for the money. For a lot of guys that end up shooting a lot and do a lot of stuff with rifles and firearms and stuff, it's nice to be able to look into your barrel to see, number one, what you have going on in there, and number two, how dirty it is, if you get copper fouling, all that good stuff. And then three, if your barrel, like for the real hardcore guys, is if your barrel is what it says it is from the manufacturer, and most of them are. Very rarely do you get an oddball one that comes off the line, especially from the premium barrel manufacturers. They're all go through QC stuff, so they're all pretty good. But it's nice to be able to see, especially when you're shooting for a while and you see, well, maybe my groups fell off or maybe my accuracy is waning, so you can run that Borescope down and you can say, hey, well, maybe it's dirty, or maybe I just blew through 1,000 rounds in my 264 Win Mag in 20 minutes and my barrel's toast. So it's a nice tool to have in your arsenal. So there we go. There's my opinion on what I think of this little Teslong NTS150B inspection scope, rifle scope, Borescope, whatever you want to call it. Like I said, I think it's a pretty decent value for the money, and if you get the version 2.0, I believe you will probably be happy with it. So, till next time, stay safe on your machines, shoot safe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. If you're interested in purchasing one of these, I will put a link in the description below